Hello, it's good to see you again. How's everyone doing? Bon dia. I'm here today with my second video for the season, and today I'm going to be addressing uh, in what way, as a parent, can you support your children to have a successful school year? I think at this stage in the year, most of you have had your kids in school back from up to 2 weeks to a month, some just 1 week like myself. Now, there's a lot of things that you must have observed in them. You know, in a wider spectrum, it all sort of boils down to three areas which we can target and then understand how the support can be given from your end as a parent. And these areas include number one, which is procrastination, so wanting to delay or postpone the study or homework that they have been given. You will notice this is happening if, for example, you ask your child, so do you have any homework? And they may say, oh, I've already done it. This is probably not true. They might be lying to you, or they'll say, no, I don't have any homework. How do you verify this? Well, nowadays, most schools have websites where children and the adult, the parent, has access to the content of what they're studying and also the days that they're given assignments, and then they have to hand them in. So, keep a watch on that so you can just monitor initially in the early stages when their work is due and when their deadlines are. And apart from that, what you can also do is create what we call a distraction and tech-free environment for them. Facilitate this for them, because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is enable them to not have these distractions in order to focus on, in this case, the study or the homework or the project. And what you can do with a younger child is, if they do have a smartphone, then you can have some rules and say, well, Monday to Friday there is no smartphone, and you give it to them on Friday, and they have to return it to you on Sunday evening. With the older kids, you may have to put this into practice, but to avoid the feeling of them not feeling trusted, they should take that responsibility upon themselves to create timers on their phone that stop them from being distracted, or just give you the phone altogether during their study hours. Most schools have study aids on technology, so those are the iPads or other tablets, so a smartphone is essentially not really needed. And they also habilitate the tablet or device so that there's no social media configured on that tablet whilst the child is supposed to be studying. So this is very important. Create a tech-free environment, and of course make sure that wherever they study is as a quiet and motivational area for them to begin their work. Number two would be feeling overwhelmed. This is so common. My daughter came back last week, being very upset and grumpy in the car. They will be upset and they will use you as a punching bag. So that's something to look out for. Mostly it's because one of their needs is not being covered at school. So it could be, having the entitlement all summer of doing whatever you want, and suddenly there's a teacher who's telling them, well, you have to read 70 pages by the end of next week, which throws them off completely. You have to manage that with your child, and one way to do that is by helping them to break down these tasks and these expectations that are suddenly put upon them. You could say, well, we could do 10 pages a day, and if you want, we can start together initially. This helps them to feel encouraged and also helps you as a parent to feel useful towards them. The idea is not to do the work for them, obviously, but for them to feel supported, that you're there. And for teenagers 13, 14 onwards, what they need is to just know that you're around. So hover around your home, but don't be in their faces, because they don't like that. Send them a text even once in a while and say, is everything okay? Can I do something for you? And they'll probably respond if and when they need you. Okay, so feeling overwhelmed, very important. Focus on that. The third thing is memory retention. Obviously, this is hard for each person in a different way. You may be a visual person. I may be an oral person. I may need to talk about what I'm learning with somebody. You may just need to read and write it again. So each person responds differently. It's not your job to tell them what is the best method, but what you can do is advise them on different methods that they could use in order to help themselves learn for a test or finish, a preparation for an exam that's coming up. There will probably be large chunks of information. It's impossible for them to learn it overnight. So ask them to prepare, a timeline. You could advise them to learn initially with a friend, perhaps. This can be always very helpful and motivating. If possible, for the younger kids, take interest in their subjects and tell them, okay, you spend half an hour learning and then talk to me about it. So instead of writing it down as a summary, let them orally present it to you. This helps in their presentation skills as well, correct? So memory retention is a very personal thing. Your job as a parent can be to support them in finding the best way that's suited to them. This will take some time, but once you inculcate these study habits from pretty much day one of school starting, within the first 2 weeks, this will last for the whole year, and you'll notice that your child is having a more comfortable, smooth walk into their secondary, primary, whichever year they're in. There will be the occasional surprise, obviously, but the base has been formed by you and them. And this is the most important thing, which brings me on to another tip, which is confidence building. Now, it would be incorrect for you to build confidence on them with a very vague manner and just compliment them on their abilities, openly. It's not like that. The better way to do it would be, you did a spelling test and look, you got this amount of answers right. It paid off studying so hard for it. So you have to be focused in your confidence building and laud them on very specific goals that they have achieved, because this reminds them that studying hard for a test pays off, and mum or dad observed this and have appreciated my hard work. And then also, sometimes you may find that the environment that they've set up for themselves on day one inevitably stops working for them. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, studies have shown that alternating study environments are actually quite helpful, because it forces the brain to process the information in a different setting, which then helps them to encode this more deeply. So if they are not happy working in their bedrooms where there's a study desk, don't be thrown by that. Create a new environment for them, offer them options. You could even ask them to come to the park with you, and then you could sort of do study tests and check on their work over there in the open air. So every environment offers a different opportunity. Be open to that, okay? And the most important tip, which I cannot stress further, will help them not just now but through life, is reading. What you get from reading is so much more than learning information. It's a way to enhance your memory, first of all, and also it's a lifelong process where you never stop learning, correct? So as young as they are, just allow them, enable them, encourage them, and explain to them the benefits of reading. So those were my tips today for having a successful year at school. I hope that your children have an amazing week ahead, and I'll be back again. Thank you so much for listening, and please contact me if you have any questions. Leave me a little comment at the end of this video. I will really appreciate it. Bye-bye.